All right, I'll just go ahead and get started. All right, so hey everyone, my name is Koji, and I was a software fellow with the New York City Mayor's Office for Economic Opportunity this summer. And I had the chance to work on projects to replatform the benefit screening API. Okay, so for today, I'm just going to go over what is the benefit screening API, and then kind of like what the current processes are for updating and maintaining it. And then I'm going to go over my project this summer, which was re-architecting the rules engine. And then I'm going to go over the results and then as well as some next steps. Okay, so what is the benefit screening API? So the benefit screening API is essentially what powers this 10-question eligibility questionnaire on the Access NYC website. And this just helps New Yorkers screen for which benefits programs that they may qualify for. So kind of to walk you through the process, the 10-question eligibility questionnaire essentially just has a user on a website fill out 10 different questions about themselves. And then after they click submit, they're brought to a screen with maybe like 15, 20 different benefits programs that they qualify for. And after they click submit, there's actually a separate software that takes in the user's responses and matches them to the benefits programs that they qualify for. And this is what I was working on this summer, which is the benefits screening API. And this piece of software is used by CUNY Cares benefits navigators to help CUNY students like access benefits that they may qualify for. And yeah, the benefits screening API handles all logic for matching people with the benefits programs based on their responses. So about last year, 200,000 different people were able to get access to benefits programs that they qualified for using the Access NYC screener. And then this year, the benefit screening API was also integrated with My City, where already about 20,000 people have been able to find benefits programs that they may have qualified for through there. So, however, let's just like take a look at the existing process for maintaining and giving updates to this rules engine. So currently, the rules engine requires significant overhead costs to maintain and update. And this is because it requires its own software to perform and write like even like routine rule changes um, routine updates. And this is because the rules are written in Drools, which is a really specialized language that isn't super accessible to the engineers on the team. And it's primarily utilized by larger organizations, but because like New York City Opportunity is a smaller organization, it doesn't really make sense to use. Further, the API is actually split across multiple different code bases, with a lot of it being written in Node.js. And it's also split unnecessarily across multiple different compute services, which adds to the cost and also adds to the maintenance cost of maintaining this API. So just to take a look at the existing structure of the rules engine, it first starts up here, like I guess like in the top left with the website itself, where the user enters in their information. And then it kind of gets sent over to the right here to the screening API. And then it gets sent again to the rules engine. So this is kind of like a more complex flow for this platform that essentially is just matching users with benefits programs that they qualify for. And then my project this summer was actually re-architecting this to kind of consolidate a lot of this flow into this one screening API, which eliminates a lot of the technical complexities and overhead costs behind maintaining this engine. So I consolidated it all within this one single screening API, and I replatformed the AWS architecture to be a lot cheaper by using AWS Lambda, which is a different compute service than the currently used AWS EC2. So in my re-architecture, I switched from Node.js and Drools to use Python, which is much more standard and modern and also understood by basically everyone on the engineering team. And then I also changed up the architecture of the code base so that it's very scalable and it works in an auto registry feature. So essentially, to make a new rule, all you need to do now is just duplicate a file and update the logic, versus editing multiple different places in the code base and managing multiple different softwares in order to just like maintain the infrastructure for updating rules. And then I also replatformed the AWS architecture to rely on one single like AWS Lambda, which is a different compute service than EC2. And previously, it was relying on multiple different EC2 instances. So this makes it significantly simpler with much less to maintain, since AWS Lambda is a lot more lightweight and cheap than EC2. And then I also added in a lot of things that helped with the engineering debt that's like used every time there needs to be a routine update. So for example, this has to do with like testing, like I developed an automatic testing suite, deployment pipelines, which cuts the technical overhead significantly because there's no more managing a lot of different softwares in order to deploy even like routine updates. And then something of note was that like tedious translations of like rules to Python for program rules is made significantly easier with the use of AI. And that's something moving forward that's going to be significantly more useful for the team. And yeah, it's just like significantly easier to maintain, and engineers only need to edit one place. So, if this rules engine gets updated every couple of weeks, so there's no more kind of scrambling to kind of wrestle with the existing technical infrastructure in order to deploy even just routine updates or security audits. And yeah, so some of the results that came from this was one of them was a pretty significant performance upgrade. There's actually a 10 times speed up compared to the current, with an average user request being processed in only 0.267 seconds. And this is opposed to previously where it would take around 2 to 5 seconds for a user's request and to be processed, which cuts down the time pretty significantly for a user to be able to see which benefits programs that they qualify for. And then yeah, it's much more scalable now. So especially with like our pretty rapidly changing world of benefits access and benefits policies, engineers and product managers can update and create new rules like pretty dramatically faster. And they only need to edit one place rather than many, which is a pretty significant feature for this. And then also there's very few package dependencies, which makes it significantly easier to maintain for routine security updates. And yeah, Um, I guess like the next steps would be to talk it over with the team and end up replacing the existing rules engine with this replatform. And then also, the team is currently looking at the best way to integrate this with the existing Access NYC website screener so that all users of Access NYC would be able to use this new replatform's API. And then also like, in kind of our rapidly changing world of benefits policies, this would make it significantly easier to update and maintain new rules, like especially with the rapid kind of onslaught of policy changes. And yeah, thank you so much. Special shout outs to my mentors and supervisors, Sarab and Tina. Yeah, thank you. Does anyone have any questions? Okay, yeah, if there's no question, it's fine. But I guess I'll just talk more about like my experience with coding it forward and also working for the mayor's office. So I thought that this was a really like formative experience for me. And kind of before going into this fellowship, I didn't really know like where in tech I wanted to go. But like I was interested in a lot of different things, but all of them kind of software related. But this internship was actually my first software engineering internship, and it really kind of solidified kind of my perspective on like where I want to be working in the future, and also like kind of what it's like working in the public sector. And I'm hoping to continue working in the public sector in the future. Yeah.
Hey, Koji. If there is time for a question, I would love to ask one.
Oh, yeah, of course.
It's really impressive that you were able to do this so quickly within 10 weeks. Major replatforming is no small task, and so to come in an internship setting and do it is really impressive. I'm curious, like if you had or could talk to the major decision points to choose, Lambda, Python as the main things that you're going to use to improve. Other things, were there any other things that you were considering at any point during your time or other considerations you had?
Oh, yeah, of course. So we ended up settling on Lambda and Python. But kind of like to start with, we were going over multiple different ideas. Like for example, like we were kind of thinking about sticking with Node.js because some of the API was already written in Node.js. And then switching from AWS EC2 to AWS Lambda was it was kind of just like for our use case, which is a rules engine. Lambda is significantly like more lightweight and it's also a bit cheaper. And then also there's much less to manually maintain. And EC2 is significantly more powerful and it has a lot more potential, but for our use case, that's actually not needed very much. And then we ended up settling on Python just because there's a couple of reasons for this. Like number one, it's very modern, everyone understands it, and then it also comes with some packages that were ended up being really helpful, like such as Pydantic. And then I think another like really big reason that we settled on Python was because this is actually an open source tool. And then lots of other different organizations in kind of the public policy and like benefit space utilize Python. So like this, like, previously like some other open source software from the New York City opportunity has been kind of utilized throughout different government offices. And then this way, if it was written in Python, it would be very easy to understand for kind of everyone in the benefit space, for anyone else looking to make a similar rules engine.
Great. Thank you for expounding.
Does anyone else have any questions?
If there aren't any other questions, I was Koji's supervisor this summer, and he's been really great to work with, and so it's really great to see all the work you've done and see it all in one place. I think, like Bob said, this is a really significant undertaking, and a similar project could have been done by like a team of full-time engineers over a longer period of time. So it's great to see how efficiently and quickly and how well Koji was able to do this work.
Yeah, thank you so much, Sarah. Yeah, it was a lot of fun like working under you, and I guess like thanks for being so responsive and being like a great like supervisor and mentor throughout this internship. Yeah. I mean, if there's no other questions, like I think there's like 3 more minutes remaining. So I mean, like yeah, like I see some more people joining, but I think a lot of the other, I mean, feel free to like check out the other rooms. Like I think some people might still be like finishing up their presentation or answering some questions. Yeah.
Koji, I think there's a question in the chat, by the way.
Oh, sorry, I can't see the chat. Sorry. Let me. Oh, yeah, of course. Sorry, let me read this. Was there anything particularly memorable or distinct about working in the public sector that you'd like to highlight? Yeah, like I feel like it was. Hmm. I guess like this is my first internship, so I don't have too much experience working in the private sector, but I think something of note was that like kind of everyone on the team is very interested and motivated and actually like providing like benefits access for New Yorkers. And like, like I obviously like I don't think the public sector isn't known for paying as much as the private sector. And I think it's really cool to see like a lot of people being motivated like every day to come to work and try to provide benefits access for all New Yorkers, just simply because of like public good rather than I guess like personal gain. Yeah, of course. Does anyone have any other questions? Yeah, if not, there's like a minute remaining. That's two.
Oh, sure. I guess I can answer Bob's question. So yeah, like Koji said, it's actually pretty well captured in one of his last slides. So he kind of built a sort of fully functional rules engine or like replatform of the like the screening API. And the next steps would be uh basically just confirming the uh that the work that the replatform system is able to integrate properly with our existing Access NYC screener. So since it's a mature tool that serves like you said, like a couple 100,000 people a year, we'd want to do some additional testing to make sure that it's uh fully integrated properly. But um once that was done, we'd kind of just have to switch it over and it'd be pretty seamless.
Okay, yeah. I guess if that's it, thank you so much for, I guess, like listening to my presentation. I think we're going back to the main room in a couple of seconds.